Today's Gospel reading is one which will be familiar to many, the parable of the sower. It's a story retold again and again. I've lost count of the number of times that I've crouched down as a seed and pretended to grow, only to be withered by the sun or eaten by a child pretending to be a bird. But when I've done this, when I've crouched down in the school hall or in the church hall or in church during a service and tried to grow from my crouched position, there's always a gentle feeling of freedom and joy when on the fourth time I get to grow and grow. And that's not just the joy of my knees as I no longer have to crouch down. There is joy in growing, both for ourselves and for others. To see people grow sometimes can give us greater joy. I can still remember both my children learning to ride a bike without stabilisers. That moment when, after much running along with them, much holding the back of the bike steady, they suddenly get their balance and they're off. They suddenly gain that confidence to go further and further before putting their feet down or wobbling madly. And we watch them get faster and faster. In every aspect of life, it is good for us to grow. And it is a joy to watch others grow. The growth that Jesus was originally describing was people growing in their knowledge, understanding, and relationship with God. He said, the seed that was sown on good soil, this is the one who hears the word of the kingdom and understands it, who indeed bears fruit and yields. Now, many seeds have been sown over these last months as we face the pandemic together. Seeds of the spiritual kind and sociological kind, and seeds of the more physical kind. There has been new seeds sown about community spirit, with people often for the first time meeting others in their neighbourhoods through seeking to support the most vulnerable, or through coming out of our homes on Thursday evenings to clap for the NHS and for all key workers. With strangers talking to each other in queues as we wait outside shops. With the corporate need, which the vast majority of people have signed up to protect one another by keeping our distance. There has been a seed sown of greater appreciation for those who do vital jobs in our community, the key workers, who have often been overlooked or underpaid. There has been seed sown about the value of family time, with many people reporting that they have really valued time together, really valued more time with children. There have been seeds sown in a very powerful way, which have challenged us at every level of society as to the value and care we place on every individual, particularly those of a different colour skin to our own. There have been seeds sown that have challenged our deepest sense of who we are. Who we are when so much of what defines us, so much that fills our day, is stripped away. There have been seeds sown which have asked the questions of us about where God is in all of this. Where do I find comfort in the depths of deepest sorrow? Where is joy to be found when so much has been stripped away? For those who have found the answers to the spiritual questions of life in the fellowship and worship found in our church buildings, there's been the seed sown about finding God in our homes, in nature, in the world around us. There have been seeds sown in finding fellowship with others in different ways other than having a cup of coffee after church. So many seeds have been found sown in these last few months? The I wonder question, which our reading today, which the parable of the sower makes me ask is, I wonder how many of these seeds will go on to bear fruit. And I wonder how many will not have good enough roots to carry on growing after this initial time is over. And how many will be choked by the return of all the things we usually fill our days and our lives with. And I ask these questions both of myself and of the community around me. How are the seeds that have been sown during this time, when we've had to live life very differently, going to continue to grow? How can we make sure the roots are deep enough that the new shoots won't wither? How can we stop the other things of life from choking the new shoots we're seeing grow? I wonder whether the answer to these questions is to be found in the tender care that a gardener would give to new plants. A gardener would make sure that seeds and new shoots are regularly watered and given nourishment. A gardener would weed around seeds and new shoots to make sure that nothing would get in the way of that plant growing. In other words, the gardener is deliberate in his or her attention to the plants, rather than scattering the seed and just seeing if things will grow. What seeds have been sown in our lives during this time that we need to give deliberate attention to now? What are those seeds that we need to attend to so that they won't wither or get choked and can instead carry on growing? Maybe that seed for you is about maintaining those new relationships and level of care within your community. Maybe that seed for you is about making sure that time with family is not squeezed out again. Maybe that seed for you is about valuing people in new ways. Maybe that seed for you is a growing appreciation that church is about people as well as a physical space. Maybe that seed for you is about finding a new or deeper relationship with God. Whatever that seed is, it would seem such a waste not to see it continue to grow. Doesn't it warrant some deliberate attention a gardener would give it? And the best news is that when we decide to give this deliberate attention to a seed that has been sown in our lives, we are not the only gardener at work. God is ready to work with us. God is ready to be our co-gardener. So whatever seeds have been sown in your life during these last few months, don't let them wither for lack of roots. And don't let them get choked by the pressures of life. Rather be deliberate in attending to them. And as you do so, allow God to be a co-gardener with you, so that these seeds in our lives may grow and grow to be strong and stable parts of our life, bearing fruit each and every year. So let us pray. Creator God, you have sown many seeds in our lives over these last few months. Help us to know which to attend and care for now, that we may continue to grow in ourselves and in you in this next season. Protect us from all that might stifle or choke that growth. And may we, together with you, grow more and more in your likeness each and every day. Amen.